This is me at the Marriott Hotel, having just left the Game Awards last year. If you don't know who the guy next to me is, it's Neil Druckmann. If you still don't know who he is, he's the head of the creative of the video game developer Naughty Dog. He directed Uncharted 4: A Deep Sin and is best known for creating The Last of Us. That night he received the award for Best Adaptation, which I think Devil May Cry deserved it. At the Marriott Hotel, I approached him politely and cordially, telling him I was a fan of his work and asking for a picture. The guy sighed as if I asked him for money and reluctantly agreed. My friend who took the picture told me I should have left as soon as he reacted like that. I looked happy at the picture, but I won't lie. It hurt. Obviously he doesn't know who I am, but it still made me feel bad that I admire his work despite the enormous amount of hate he receives every day. I'm going to be honest, he was talking to other two people and well, when else was I going to ask him for a picture? Maybe I was wrong to interrupt. Let me know in the comments. I once heard about a comedian who was at another comedian's house with some other comedians and stuff. He received the same treatment from the comedian Gabriel Iglesias, which hurt him at the time. But now he understands that him and the others overwhelmed Iglesias, that he just wanted to hang out, but when so many people asked him for another picture, he just wanted to leave. Even so, I think that shouldn't be the way to treat your fans. It only pushes them away and makes them agree with the haters. I am in a gray area when it comes to separating the creator from the art, because I have absolutely no desire to watch Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom because Amber Heard was in it. And I don't think I need to explain why, but to be perfectly honest, at the same time I still listen to Louis C.K.'s comedy. Roman Polanski is a fugitive who should be in jail, no doubt about it, but I don't deny that I saw an officer in The Spy and I liked the movie. I think in this case it helped me that I didn't have to see his face, unlike in Heard's case. Again, what is your point of view on these issues? Back to Mr. Druckmann because apparently my night wasn't awkward enough. You've probably seen Bloomberg report by now. Naughty Dog allegedly went back to mandatory overtime in order to deliver a tech demo of Intergalactic to Sony by December. And if Bloomberg says it, well, yeah, it already happened. What's worrying isn't the crunch itself, it's the context. We're not talking about a studio slipping a couple of weeks behind schedule. We're talking about a game that has reportedly missed multiple internal deadlines. While developers are now expected to be back in the office 5 days a week, on top of everything else. But what concerns me is what was probably 8 extra hours per week, given the 60-hour weekly limit. And all this is because they're running out of time to finish the game. The month was supposed to be normal, but with this month ending, the future is uncertain. Crunch is back again like a bad sequel nobody asked for. And here's the part that really raises an eyebrow. Despite all this pressure, the people at the top of Sony still doesn't fully know what the game actually is. Let that sink in. 5 years of development, hundreds of millions of dollars, and somehow pipes? The game didn't show up at the Game Awards. It likely won't show up at the State of Play either. At this point, it genuinely feels like Intergalactic is shaping up to be the game that quietly closes out the PlayStation 5 generation, similar to what happened with the two The Last of Us in its perspective generations. But not with a bang, but with a long, uncomfortable silence. Kind of like the PS5 generation, honestly. Yeah, I said it, hate me if you want. And before anyone says it, no, this isn't me being salty because Neil Druckmann sighed at me like if I asked him to Venmo me rent money. That was just the emotional DLC. It's just hard to stay optimistic about a project that has been in development for half a decade, keeps missing internal milestones, and somehow costs more than The Last of Us Part 2, which already clocked in at around $220 million. At some point we have to ask the uncomfortable question. Is this level of AAA production even sustainable anymore? Because while studios burn cash at the industrial scale, smaller teams are out there releasing games that don't require crunching hundreds of people into burnout soup just to exist. Did someone say Clear Obscure Expedition 33? Or did I just hear Hollow Knight Silk Song? And yes, Intergalactic has brand deals, but that also means it has to succeed no matter what. There's no "it found its audience later" safety net here. Which brings me back to deadlines. Naughty Dog is in some amateur studio learning how to use Unity for the first time. This is an elite team, which makes the repeated delays even more concerning.
Isn't that concerning?
Even something is deeply mismanaged, or someone is given a lot of leeway because of reputation. Is this some kind of preferential treatment? We've seen this movie before. Remember Perfect Dark? 8 years, a flashy trailer, turns out it was basically vaporware. The result? Cancel game, closed studio, another reputation hit for Xbox. Different companies, same warning signs. And look, I don't want Intergalactic to fail. Despite my bad experience with Drugman, I really don't. But if it ends up selling in par with or worse than Ghost of Yotei, that's going to be a serious problem for Naughty Dog and Sony alike. For goodness sake, look, they've lost millions, closed studios, and released games that range from mediocre to complete failures. Games that don't live up to expectations, like the sales of God of War Ragnarok compared to the 2018 game. Like I say in a previous video of mine, rumors says that Sony wants to refocus on Japanese development. And if that's true, Intergalactic might be expected to carry way more weight than it should. And here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. Happy developers make good games. Burnout developers leak things out of spite. Don't turn out your employees against you when even the players don't seem to be on your side. And how much will loyal fans generate? 2 or at least 1 million? I don't think that will even cover 1% of the budget. And although I like Yotei, the truth is that Sucker Punch went down the same path, and it all ended with Brian Flaming's departure. Between Intergalactic and the now cancelled The Last of Us Factions 2, Naughty Dog split the studio into 2 teams. Druckmann himself confirmed this. There's a speculation about what the other project could be. The Last of Us Part 3, something new, maybe even Uncharted 5? Which I personally hope doesn't happen, because some endings are better left alone. At this point, I honestly believe it wouldn't be better not to announce Intergalactic at all if it was this far off. Let the team work, let them breathe, avoid another hospital-level burnout story making headlines. The pressure is understandable to a certain extent, but that also means that dreaded crunch will return. Because if this keeps going the way it's going, the real question isn't when Intergalactic comes out, it's what happens to Naughty Dog if it slips past 2027. I don't wish ill on the project. If something positive comes out, I'll be the first to say it. Or at least try. But right now, the warning signs are hard to ignore. Let me know what you think. Do you trust Naughty Dog to pull this off? Or does this feel like another AAA production spiraling out of control? Like, share, subscribe please. You know the drill. See you next time.